What's up, the world? This is your boy Tommy Malvin. I just came in because I wanted to speak really quick. Because there are certain things in life that that frustrate me, and when those things generally frustrate me, I tend to try to ignore them. But when I feel as if it's just so stupid that I have to say something, then I have to say something. Let's first start out with the whole narrative that the Lakers are somehow destitute and there's no hope for them to win anything. It's dumb, right? In the last 2 or 3 weeks without AD, they've beaten the Jazz, the Warriors and the Clippers, the Warriors and the Mavericks. Almost every good team, the Heat, almost every good team they played, especially with AD, they've been able to compete with little to no practice time, no time to get in chemistry. So to me, it's just ridiculous to say that if they got into the 9th seed, that they wouldn't be able to make any noise whatsoever. Charles Barkley is a freaking idiot. They're old. First of all, the whole narrative that the Lakers are old is stupid. Okay? The only two people in their rotation that are old are LeBron and Melo, and both of them are playing extremely well. So they're clearly not the problem. The problem is the same problem they've always had. The Clippers know that. That's why the Clippers are played with 2 7-footers, because they understood that no matter how good the Lakers are, they have their shot. They basically forced them to have to shoot the entire game because they don't have anybody big who can bring the ball inside. They don't have anybody. So all the teams do is pack the paint and make them take high percentage of shots. Now, when those high percentage shots are falling, they're dangerous, just like they were against all the teams I just mentioned. When those shots start falling, then all of a sudden now that big has to come off the court, and you're hard pressed to play with that Lakers with LeBron at 5. That happens at almost every game when they go on runs. That's because their shots start falling, and once their shots start falling, you can't beat them with LeBron at the 5. But when those shots are not falling, which isn't completely normal, people gotta understand, you shooting 40%. Most people shoot 40% for 3 for a reason. That means out of 10 shots, generally you miss 6 of them. Okay, so the problem with the Lakers is they have nobody who can get them easy baskets. They don't have nobody around the rim. Dwight Howard is a shell of himself. I don't know how many times I've seen people throw him lobs on pick and rolls. He can't even get up to get them. Defense, he can no longer guard the high pick and roll. Whenever they come out, and people are like, well, why don't put Dwight Howard in? You can't put Dwight Howard in. He cannot guard the pick and roll. He can't get back. So most of the time, if all they have to do is do a high pick and roll, that's why Reggie Jackson was making me so angry yesterday. Because Reggie Jackson was acting like it's you can't guard me one-on-one. It's some bullshit, right? He knew what was happening. They had to respect the roll to the basket, because they basically have to front the post. So because the man that's supposed to help out if you drive is fronting the post, he can't help out when you get around him. So majority of times, most people one-on-one are not gonna be able to guard two sides of the rim. You're gonna have to give up one, and that's when the person who's supposed to come over is supposed to come over. But you cannot do that when you have to front the big man, because you're not big enough. It's not like AD where you can bang, or Dwight Howard where you can bang. You have to front him. So because you're playing small, you have to front the big man, which causes him to have easy access to the rim almost exclusively, because they don't have a big enough person who can block out and still protect the rim. And Dwight Howard is just not quick enough to do and anytime Dwight Howard gets there, they may not be able to drive, but then all they're gonna do is do a high pick and roll, bring him out, and then they're gonna drop it down low to the big man. And he can't get back on top of the big man, so he's screwed anyway. So it's such an easy thing if you actually understand basketball. It has nothing to do with the Lakers players they have. It's what they're missing. It's what they've been missing since AD went down, which I blame Rob Pelinka for, because he should have worked harder to get I've been saying from the get-go, they could have got DeMarcus Cousins, who would have been a good fit for them. Right? He can shoot the three. He can take people off the dribble. He can ISO. Now, defensively, is he still a liability? Yes, but he also he can also make shots to keep the defense off, to keep the big man off of him. So those are all things that I think, as a fan, as a team, that they could use right now. But right now, they don't have any of the things. All they have is some overproductive wings who work hard. But when you ain't got nobody who can step over and protect the rim, it's gonna be real hard to stay out of foul trouble if you're on the wing. And they're like, oh, they can't stay in front of anybody. Yeah, because the way the rules are set up in the NBA, it's hard for anybody to stay in front of anybody, because they can't put their hands on them. And it's almost impossible to guard two sides of the court by yourself. You're not big enough. You're gonna have to commit one way or the other, and then they're gonna get around you. And that's when you need a big man to be able to step up and protect the rim. You can't do that, because teams have realized that if you do a high pick and roll, LeBron has to come out on the person defending, because majority of the time, even when they get over the pick, the only person that can get back to guard the big man is LeBron. So majority of times what they do is they take him, put a high pick and roll, take that big man, have him slowly roll to the basket, which takes LeBron out of the picture. Then the other guy just goes around and lays it up, because they ain't got nobody who can protect the rim. And I know it's very analytical to people who do not understand basketball, but trust me, it's a reason that the Lakers look bad when teams play big, when their shot is not falling. When generally their shots are not falling against a team with big guys, they get blown out, because they can't stop the dribble penetration. They can't without a big man, because Dwight Howard is like LeBron in the fact that if he goes high, he can't get back low, and if he stays low, he can't get high. So majority of the time, what they do is they'll either run in, which causes another player to have to come down, because Dwight Howard can't get back. Then that requires someone else to shift over to protect the rim, which leaves a wide open 3-point shot. So it's not a chemistry thing. It's not a strategy thing. There's nothing they can do, because they are strapped. They don't have a big man, and that's what they should have been working for all this offseason. But like I said, transitionally, I thought Dwight Howard would have been all right, but clearly Dwight Howard has lost a step. He's not the same player he was 2 years ago. He's not even the same player he was 2-3 months ago. He's not playing. He hasn't played with the same motivation he played with that year they won the championship, when he was hungry. Now he's kind of just winding his career down. And it could have a lot to do with the fact that Vogel chooses not to play him for 2 or 3 games, and then he'll play him, and then won't play him for 2 to 3 more games. You know what I mean? It's just a hard pill. It's a hard way to get into a game. It's the same thing with Russell Westbrook. Russell Westbrook had 14 points in the first half. Then in the second half, he didn't play until almost the end of the game. And then at the end of the game, it's like, what's the matter with Russell Westbrook? There's nothing wrong with Russell Westbrook. Russell Westbrook played well. There's nothing wrong with Russell Westbrook. Russell Westbrook gets 18, 19 points, and he doesn't even play half the time. He plays like 30 minutes. So he generally misses like a whole quarter and still ends up scoring 18, 19 points. Because the problem with them is that for some strange reason, Frank, and I know it got something to do with Rob Pelinka, he won't play Russell Westbrook. He won't let Russell Westbrook have free range. The minute the man starts getting high, he pull him out. To me, it doesn't make much sense how they use Russell Westbrook. And I think it is a vendetta thing between Rob Pelinka and LeBron, because LeBron wanted Russell Westbrook. And like I said, at the end of the day, you're supposed to be doing what's best for the team. And I think Rob Pelinka is generally trying to prove a point. That's why he didn't get anybody. He hasn't tried. He never tried to get a big, and it was clear the problem from the beginning wasn't no damn Russell Westbrook. But he wanted to make it look like it was Russell Westbrook. So the majority of the time, he never worked to try to get a big man to be able to replace what they were missing. They could have got Damian Jones. They could have got a couple of people that would have been able to at least been sustainable in that position until AD got back. But to rely your entire season on a guy who has not finished, who has notoriously missed 3/4 of a season on the regular is ridiculous. And the whole mindset that the experiment failed. What damn experiment? LeBron, AD, and Westbrook have never played together. They play together one game, the next game the other one's out. Then they play again, and the other one's out. So it's not even a situation majority of the time where you can even pay attention to what's going on because you never see them together. So you don't know what they would be together. And even if that was the case, that it didn't work, this, that, and the third. How would you know that? Because they don't have a big man that could protect the rim. And or be able to be there for a lob in the lob dunker position. Dwight Howard can't do that no more. So who do you got? You got, I guess that you could say that's what makes him old, Dwight Howard. But Dwight Howard, he can only do what he do. He was supposed to be the backup. He wasn't supposed to be a starter. So they brought in DeAndre Jordan because that's all he really could afford. And at the end of the day, these people keep running around talking about, see, if you would have kept Kyle Kuzma and they were going through the same problem last year when AD got hurt. They couldn't cover anybody when AD got hurt. The difference in the situation is that AD played more games, so they had better statistics than they did this year because AD hardly was playing at all. So, like I said before, you watch their wings. Their wings are playing well. They are standing in front of people. They are doing a good job until people realize that they're bigs, that they can't guard the high pick and roll. So what do they start doing? Instead of doing that pick and roll at the top of the key, they start doing that pick and roll way outside of the three-point line, which forces the big to come out because they have only a couple people who can guard the big. And when they try to do it the other way, they just dump it down low, and then the big just bangs with a guy who's 4 inches bigger than him and probably outweigh about 30, 40 pounds. It's not a fair position to put the wing in. But at the end of the day, people like narrative more than they like truth. Right? It's like if the narrative is sexier than the truth, then they're going to go with the narrative. And the narrative is the Lakers are a catastrophe. Every good team they played with, they have stated that they're a good team. Only people stating they're a bad team are the analysts because they're not analyzing a damn thing. They're just trying to put out puff pieces and put out controversial statements that will get people to try to argue with them or get nod their head because they're LeBron haters. Either because they're Jordan fans or hate Black Lives Matter and think that LeBron speaks is an uppity nigga. That at the end of the day are the two camps that hate LeBron. The Jordan fans and the uppity nigga crowd. And at the end of the day, when you see the way that they call fouls for the Lakers, it is disgusting. They will not give the Lakers anything. The NBA is genuinely trying their best to try to get these guys, to try to get LeBron. I think they've been trying to do it for years. Try to get LeBron out of the spotlight so they can focus on the more younger talent because they feel LeBron's on his way out. So they want the Lakers to do bad because if the Lakers do bad, then but they saw what happened a couple years ago when they did that. LeBron missed the playoffs, their ratings sunk like a damn rock. And it's like they don't get that. Nobody gonna give a shit about Steph, okay? Steph is a great player, but the only people like him is white people 90% of the time. And they only like him not because they like him, but the identity he presents that they can emulate. That's the only thing they like about Steph Curry. Steph Curry, they're not giving a shit if the Warriors win or lose, as long as the Lakers, as long as Steph Curry makes a couple threes. It shows them that they can play in the NBA. That's it. And they're losing that. Luka Doncic, I watched that Dallas Mavericks game against the Warriors and against the Lakers, and it was ridiculous. You can't breathe on this damn guy. As soon as he goes to the rim, like, how is him and LeBron the same size? LeBron way faster, way more athletic, but somehow people can stay in front of LeBron without fouling him, but they can't stay in front of Luka Doncic without fouling him when they do the same damn thing, which is run, drop their shoulder, draw contact. Only difference is LeBron goes through the contact majority of the time to get the N1, but they never call it. But Luka Doncic, on the other hand, the minute your body touches him, they call a foul. Like he's really that hard to stay in front of. So you sit there and think in your mind, okay, so they genuinely are just calling any damn thing for Luka Doncic that they can. And then everybody else, and then for LeBron and all these other guys, they're sitting up there saying, oh, cool. It's like you caught that last night, they missed the and one that would have kept the Lakers close and gave them some momentum, and they called it off for no reason. They're always doing that to LeBron. Maybe because LeBron complains so much, I don't know. But he has a right to complain. So it's almost like, okay, if I don't complain, y'all definitely not going to call it. And if I do complain, y'all definitely not going to call it. So I'm damned if I do, I'm damned if I don't. So I might as well let the people at home realize what's going on. But the problem with that situation is LeBron is a stranger. It's always been a adopted Laker. He's not an actual Laker. He wasn't brought there young in his career before he actually won anything. His career was pretty much decided before he got there. So LeBron has never been an actual Laker. He's just always been a guy wearing a great player in a Laker uniform. But so you know, he's never going to truly get a fair shake with the Lakers fans. The best they can hold, because most of them are either Kobe fans, Kareem fans, you know what I'm saying, Magic fans. They're not really Laker fans. I mean, a LeBron fan. So majority of the times, no matter, even though LeBron's averaging 29, like 7 and 8, it doesn't matter. Even though Westbrook is averaging 18, like 8 and 7, it doesn't matter. Because at the end of the day, they don't give a shit about truth. They just want narrative. Oh, Russell Westbrook sucks. LeBron's too old. Bro, they don't have a center. What the hell do you want them to do? They cannot play. They don't have a center they can put in. We saw what happened when they tried to put in DeAndre Jordan. He's horrible. Then they tried to put in Dwight Howard, and you see how he's playing. He's in foul trouble within 3 minutes. Why? Because he can't. All they have to do is a high pick and roll. He comes out and he's done. All he can do is foul people when they go by him. So there's an understanding I think people miss as fans. Everybody wants to focus on the story instead of focus on the facts. The facts of the situation is the Lakers are not a terrible team. The Lakers are a team that is extremely vulnerable when teams play big. If their shots falling, they can run them off the court. But sooner or later, they're going to go cold. And the minute they go cold, the team is going to rush their bigs out on the court because they want them to have to. As soon as they get about 5-8 point lead, they're going to rush their bigs out. Now the tension goes up for the Lakers to make their shots. And if they don't, then the other team just dumps it inside. They're getting easy basket while the Lakers got to make shots. And if the other team threes are falling like the Clippers were last night, you're done. You know what I mean? Because they can make threes with a big on the floor, and that's the difference. Now, do I think they would have made those threes had the tension been higher and they would have had? No, I don't think they would have made half those threes. You saw what happened the other night when the game got close.